give you a quick introduction. So the Zynstra hybrid cloud solution is basically there's an appliance that's on your site that is then something that that has several virtual machines loaded into it. So at a minimum, think about if you were going to put in a very light device at a client's office. It has Active Directory, and then you can load up machines. So if you need a machine specifically to be a storage server, you would put that on site. If you need a machine to be a SQL server, you would put that on site, and so forth. And as you go through each of these machines, you only start up the machines that you actually need, and that way, when you just pay for what you need, and you don't have to necessarily pay for everything that is available on the device. It's only the things that you are actually using, and then of course you can license Microsoft products, Office, and so forth. Share my screen, and that way I can put up just the one slide. There we go. You all can see that?
Great.
Very good.
Yep.
So I gave a quick introduction to the ZAP, or to the Zynstra product, and part of what I want to also introduce today is we've had a group of people who have been working with us for about 6 months, a little over 6 months, and they're the Zynstra Advisory Panel, and so a number of them are on the call today as well, and we have lots of new friends on the call. So we want to give kind of an overview of this super cool appliance. Then, you know, the Zynstra team showed up at SMB Nation and kind of stole the show, and so I think there's been a bit of a buzz since then, and we've got some installs in the US and obviously installs in the UK, and it's kind of taken off. So with that, let me have Rhett introduce himself and his team.
Great. Thank you, Carl, and Happy New Year to everyone, and thanks to the advisory panel for letting us widen this to Carl's community, and to all of you that we've not spoken to before, a very big welcome from us at Zynstra. My name's Rhett Ryder. I'm the VP of BizDev worldwide. We've also got Andrew.morlidge, hopefully on the panel. Well, we know he's on. Whether you can actually speak, Andrew. Can you say hello?
I can definitely speak if the technology allows, yeah. Hi everybody. So I just joined Zynstra from, I was recently at Microsoft, and I'm responsible for the Americas, so a very good morning to you.
And Adrian is also on the line, and Adrian is in our pre-sales tech support, and hopefully if you join us all at the same time next week, we will be taking you through a sandbox demo, and Adrian will be helping on that, and also is available to answer any questions. If you could say hello, Adrian, that would be great.
Hi guys, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you, just a little bit faint, but we can hear you. So if there's any technical questions, and also we have the ZAP panel members who are as expert as any of us here at Zynstra, and people like George who've actually installed the systems and has live customers. So are you with us today, George? You with us on mute?
Yeah,
there he is. I just made him a panel.
He's part of this.
Brilliant. Okay. And we should have Daniel and Jeff with us from Telco MSP. Are you guys able to say hello? Maybe, maybe not. Or as we go through, maybe Carl can open that up. So what Carl and I thought we could do today is give you a very brief overview of the Zynstra hybrid cloud solution and why we think it's exciting for you and your end user customers, and also a snapshot of some of the excitement that we generated at SMB Nation. Some of you may have actually been at the show, and we may have spoken to you there, so in which case great to talk to you again. What we'd like to try and do is take about 20 minutes to go through the Zynstra proposition. It will be very fast. You know, this is about an hour's slide deck, and there's also a couple of slides in there for Telco MSP to talk to, if we can open up their mic. and then throw it over to George to talk about his experience of installing a Zynstra solution in one of his customers, and then throw it open to any Q&A. The goal, as Carl mentioned, was to give you a flavor of the Zynstra appliance today, and hopefully make you excited such that you'll join us next week for the demo of the software. However, if you have any urgent opportunities or prospects that you think this could actually work for, then Daniel, Jeff, myself, Andrew are very happy to jump on a call with you and talk you through how it could be applied to your customers. So what I'll do now is crack on through the slides, and Carl, if you could go to the next one, that would be great. I think on the first slide there was actually a surfer. My sound check was covering the boxer. And part of the presentation is around about, for those that use scuba dive, and I know some of the ZAP members are big scuba divers, their view was that by deploying the Zynstra solution, they can spend more time doing the things that they want to do as owner-managers of their businesses, and in this case it was scuba diving. So hopefully as we go through this, you'll see how the Zynstra solution can not only deliver a great solution to your customers, but it can actually help free up some of your time to do the things that you want to do and be more profitable as an organization. First of all, introducing Zynstra, a bit of background. We, as you can tell from my voice, my name may sound a little bit American, but as you can tell from my voice, I'm very much UK. The company was founded in Bath by proven and successful software entrepreneurs. The previous company built mission-critical software for telcos to enable the networks, and was used by AT&T, Verizon, BT here in the UK, etc. And they had successfully exited their business and had decided to look for their next opportunity as the market progressed. They saw a lot of interest in the cloud, but as technical people and as people running businesses, both small businesses and large ones, their view was that the cloud, running everything in the cloud, was not the end game of the cloud, and that there was a definite need in the marketplace to deliver a hybrid solution where basically you run an on-premise private cloud, but you take the best of the public cloud as and when you require to run your business. And when they looked around, they found that there was nothing really that was addressing the needs of the SMB community to deliver a hybrid cloud solution, and that all of the investment, all the VC investment, all of the hype was going into delivering applications into the cloud. So the company set up, and the goal was to deliver the best on-premise private cloud hybrid IT solution for SMBs, and to sell it through the channel, and that's exactly what we've been doing over the last couple of years. And we launched that product early last year, and as Carl mentioned, we brought it to the US through the advisory panel from June onwards, and we should be announcing it formally in the US next week. We did a bit of a pre-launch at SMB Nation, but the formal launch is next week, and you can currently buy the Zynstra product through Telco MSP, who will explain a bit more about themselves later on, and their uniqueness and why we chose them initially. So it's a software product delivered by a software product company. It's sold exclusively through the channel, so you're our customer, and it delivers that demand for worry-free on-premise hybrid cloud, sold not as a transaction but as a service. And it's a complete solution, and we'll talk about what's included in there. We believe, as does Carl and other industry analysts, that it's an ideal opportunity and solution for those customers who are still on SBS or WSO3 and or want to move to a hybrid cloud. It includes, as part of that bundle, everything from the Zynstra software, the cloud management, the HP hardware, the HP Carrier Pack, the Microsoft SPLA and EA licenses. It's all pre-integrated and sold out of the box as a service, and we'll talk some more about that later. And as Carl said, it's gaining significant traction. We've got some customers in Europe that have committed to our product as their exclusive solution for WSO3, and also to move their business from transaction to service-based business. So not just a great technical solution, but an enabler for you and your business to help move from a transaction-based to a subscription-based. As I mentioned, working with the ZAP panel to get your feedback as to what we need to do for the US, and also working with other people who are open for business now. And not only is it us and our partners who think it's significant, but we've got people like Open saying that it's significant in terms of its wider business impact as well. So could you move to the next slide? Thanks, Carl.
Hello.
So the SMB dilemma. So for those of you, I imagine you're all dealing with small, medium business, owner occupied. They have that dilemma of do I spend time building this myself? Do I get my team to build this myself, or do I pay? Hello, yeah. Or do I pay my partner to build it, or do I go all in the cloud, or is there something in between that gives me the best of both worlds? So with that SMB dilemma, it's all around, can I have it all on premise, but I don't want the mess that I've currently got. I'm not ready to move everything into the cloud, but I quite like the worry-free IT, the pay-as-you-go, OpEx model. So for an SMB, can I have the best of both worlds? And I think, Daniel, if you could sort of mute your mic, that would be great. A bit of disturbance there. So what Zynstra offers really is a solution that gives you that best of both worlds, so the best of the cloud and the best of on-premise. So Carl, if you can move to the next slide, please. I'm sure none of you have seen pictures of your on-premise IT like the one on the left there. So as I mentioned, Zynstra is an on-premise hybrid IT, is the best of both worlds. We deliver a complete private cloud that delivers what we feel is enterprise-grade IT services and pre-integrated with a public cloud service such as Azure. So it gives you that on-prem performance, that on-prem firewall security, LAN performance. You can control what applications or data you keep on-premise, and you can decide which of the cloud services that you want and or when you want to move some of those applications to the cloud as they become available. Carl, next slide, please. So the Zynstra solution, as I mentioned previously, two key components of the Zynstra part of the solution. There's the appliance, which is based on the HP ProLiant hardware, a Gen 8, Gen 9, and microserver. There's a whole range of those that are pre-packaged and pre-bundled. It is hyper-converged, it is virtualized, and it is autonomic self-healing. We pre-stage it for you with the infrastructure and the applications so that we deliver it to you and your customer such that you take it out of the box and it's up and running within the hour for you to start your data migrations. It comes with the cloud backup, cloud DR, cloud integration already pre-configured. And then once it's in and up and running and ready for you to do your data migration, you will also have a management interface that you can actually log on to and see what is happening in all of your Zynstra deployments and drill down into any problems. That's if we've not already solved them and sorting them for you. The whole beauty of the Zynstra platform is that we see all of the applications, and our promise and commitment is to keep it current and up and running for you through the sophisticated software that we have. So we keep it on, we keep it up, and we keep it current. Carl, next slide, please. So just as that one flicks through on the automation, there's the range of appliances. It can run an example mix. You can have from sort of 1 VM up to 32 on the 1460, and the file storage increases as you go up the range, as do the number of active users that it can support and the overall price. And you're looking at anything from at the low end, a $250 a month price point, which includes everything that I mentioned, including the backup and DR paired to that server, up to a couple of $1,000s a month for a fairly large SMB server running 250 active users. Cool. Next slide, please. So I'm not going to spend the hour that we could spend going through this slide, which you'll probably be glad to hear. What you have on the Zynstra appliance is a lot of work, a lot of smarts, a lot of patents gone in to create a complete enterprise class environment that you can deploy within the SMB for you to deploy fast and manage easier. So there's a whole range of software capability that creates this virtualized environment and some of the key applications that you would like on it. There's tools to provide a resilient cluster. There's tools to make multi-site deployments quicker and easier. There's tools to provide Active Directory user management, single sign-on, and the ability to manage that remotely. All of the file and print management services that you would expect in a domain controller there. There's tools to help on the network gateway. It comes with antivirus, firewall, intrusion detection, all as part of the solution, which could save you money if you've got piecemeal solutions to that, as well as the admin and the management time. It comes with the Zynstra file server, print server, Active Directory, all in separate VMs so that there's robustness across that. But it also comes with IIS containers for you to use to port physical to virtual or applications that are specific to that SMB. And it can come with a range of curated applications that we supply as part of the service, which could be Exchange or RDS, or it could be a school-specific application for content and web filtering or for school management. So there's a range of applications that we're building up as part of an ecosystem that can be delivered, can be licensed and delivered from Zynstra to be delivered to the customer. In the cloud, we have single sign-on, we have Office 365 integration tools, we have a sophisticated encryption capability for client backup and DR. As part of our DR service, if somebody was to come in and steal or a natural disaster, the server within your customer, we will replace that server, we'll have them up and running in the cloud, and when the new server is available, we'll download the images back from the cloud so that they can keep running. It has very sophisticated tools for automating updating, keep current, patching, and all of that is managed for you. And as I mentioned earlier, there's a web-based console for that tiered management, so you can see all of your customers and we can get to see all of our customers. The idea is that, as we say, it's easy management and we do the work for you. Carl, next slide please. That product is called the SMB IT appliance. We mentioned the tiered management, so on the customer's desktop they get a red, amber, green sort of traffic light system, big buttons to punch, and also the ability to very quickly set up a new user or delete a user, and the goal is to make that very unsophisticated so that they can do the very simple things very easily, and then for you as their trusted partner, you have the ability to do the things that they would expect and also to troubleshoot if you really wanted to. However, as I mentioned, that's what we do for you as part of the cloud managed server. Carl, next one please. So I'm trying to go through as quick as I can. Mentioned this slide a little bit before, so a whole range uses typical VM sizes. The price increases as there's the number of users and the amount of file storage that it will support. And we can talk some more about that next week. But as I said, there's a complete range, all pre-bundled and pre-prepared for you with a simple monthly fee. I think Carl mentioned that earlier in the introduction. This all-inclusive fee, so it's a one-off OPEX, 3-year or 5-year terms. Carl, next slide, please. So, as a summary, if you were looking specifically for an SBS WSO3 solution or move to a hybrid cloud, for you as the trusted IT partner of the SMB, these are some of the benefits that you can read as we go through and talk through this. So it's a hyper-converged product. It's developed by software experts to make your job easier. Your own resources can then concentrate on the higher value IT activity or the more value add, the consultative deals, or you can spend more time doing the things that you want to do. It is hybrid cloud IT as a product. We have a big development team here and a great roadmap of functionality that we will continue to deliver to the market to make it the best hybrid cloud IT product to meet your customers' demands. Wide range of on-premise capability out of the box, out of one box, all licensed and pre-integrated for you. George, who's on the line, one of his quotes here, so thank you for that, George, was that what you get with the Zynstra solution is when you deliver it and you configure it, there's no colouring outside of the boxes. So and that's a good thing in that you can have some of the junior members go out and install this system, knowing that it helps guide you to set up this service as you would want it, such that you get that consistent instance. It's always kept current, the patching, the smarts, all of the updates we do for you, and we'll coordinate that through into the customer. Encrypted, backup DR, single sign-on, so does the service, etc. And it supports your move to a recurring services model. So you can start looking to start each year with this recurring services model, which hopefully is easier to budget and resource. So the solution, we think, helps. It's an on-premises play, helps keep you in control of the customer. You don't get disenfranchised by the customers moving off into an all-cloud model. It is faster to deploy, it is easy to manage, and those benefits should translate for you into lower deployment costs, lower support costs, higher SLAs, and hence more profit and enterprise value for you, and also more time to do the things that you might want to do. Carl, next slide, please. And I think I'll be handing over to Daniel, if you're there, or Jeff, to talk through a couple of slides introducing Telco MSP and why you're unique and special.
Yeah, hi, Rhett. This is Jeff. Can you hear me?
Hi, Jeff. Yeah, we can hear you.
You're a little light, but...
Yeah, we were having a lot of problems with the audio a little bit earlier, so I'll talk as... no one has accused me of talking lightly before, Carl, but I'll do my best here. So Telco MSP is really a specialized distribution, and we are North American distribution for Zynstra. And we are a sales-driven organization. We've been doing this for 12 years now. And you're always looking for that right product. And I think right now, all we hear out in the marketplace is cloud, cloud, cloud. I mean, my sales team, it's cloud 24/7 right now. But it's one thing about what people are talking about and what people are buying, because we've been engaged in these conversations for a long time. And we have the cloud conversations, and everybody is interested, right? It's almost in the same way they're interested in watching 60 Minutes on Sunday nights, right? It's fascinating. But there's a big difference between interested in buying something. And so so we've kind of changed that conversation. We love the hybrid conversation where Zynstra's taken this, because we can talk to the customer about modernizing and bringing the cloud in bits and pieces as they want it versus everything all at once, that whole cloud conversation. So we're really helping them to modernize, and so and taking the next step up instead of them having that feeling that they're taking a step off a cliff. And this is a big deal. So we can take, we can put Zynstra in there and then help them integrate those other line of business applications to this service. This is, to everything what Rhett has been talking about. This platform has already been pre-integrated for 365 and many other applications. So this is a turnkey ready to go into the customer's premise. It is OpEx, and for anybody who doesn't realize that's a big deal, I think anybody that's been selling for a while knows that is a big deal in the customer's place, right? Especially after the economy we went through just a few years ago. I realize we're coming out of it now, but people are still pretty, they're still holding on to their wallets. So from that viewpoint, everything we do has kind of gone with that hybrid conversation. We support voice solutions also with Star to Star, who is also a hybrid offering. This year, last year and this year, Dan and I have made a pretty significant investment preparing for this big push to sell Zynstra for 2015. So our team is ready. We're here to support you. We have the we're not only just here as a sales mechanism. We've got a support team. We're here to help on pre-sales, during the sales process, to support provisioning, and we have the help desk also. We do all level 3 calls. Level 4 is handled by Zynstra. You would handle levels 1 and 2. So this is definitely a team approach. Right?
Carl, if you want to go on to the next slide, there's a few more points there that Jeff may want to cover. which was hopefully just following on from what you were saying there, Jeff, as the key components, pulling it together for you.
So, the world we've moved to now, we've gone, most of us and most of the people, most of our partners, we have roughly 500 partners across the country. Most of them are systems integrators, not software integrators. And I think we all know by reading, Forrester, Gartner, anything you're reading out there, that we're pretty much in a software world right now. And so we saw that. So we actually built a team around the integration part of this business also, so that we can help integrate those line of business applications that the partner might need. And on top of it, if you think about this, if you're a partner and you're verticalized, you're in the medical vertical, you're in the financial, legal vertical, we can actually help you to take those applications that you're selling now, integrate that into the Zynstra service, and then once we've done that, we can help you on the marketing end. We part of this, you'll see on the very bottom here, intuitive marketing. Intuitive marketing is a company that we've chosen and we work with exclusively for all of our content marketing and digital marketing campaigns. And they've done a good job, and I think Rhett can attest to what they've done in a very short period of time, building out websites and building out content for our partners going into next year. But going back to that verticalization, can you imagine being able to take the Zynstra offering, your verticalized offering, wrap that messaging around in a very cohesive, clear message to your customers, your existing customers, and the customers you're going after? That's powerful.
Okay. Was that what you wanted to say at the moment, Jeff? Should we move on?
Yes, that's correct.
Great.
So we're prepared. We're ready. Our team is ready. They're to support the initiative moving forward this year. Let's make it a hybrid world, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. And you're right. I can attest to the great work that Intuitive have done for you, but also from our perspective, the ambition of Jeff and Daniel, the president, to really pull a community together and actually, genuinely try to pull all the pieces together to make your job easier, or to help, in this virtual team, as Zynstra is the sort of the virtual team to pull and pre-bundle and pre-integrate and get the systems up and running for you to make your jobs easier. Then Daniel and Jeff and the team really want to try and do that in some of these other areas, and do this as a sort of an MSP for an MSP. So that really excited us about what Telco MSP wanted to try and do.
Yeah, and then one last thing to add, because you have the scuba diver up front, and I think some people giggle at that one, but I don't see that as a joke at all. Dan and I have been working in the recurring revenue market since the beginning for 12 years, and we have a lot of partners that have been very, very successful building up recurring revenue over the course of a lot of years, and they have changed their life. They are taking more time off. Our partners are coming on to Zynstra fairly quickly right now because they realize that Zynstra is doing the heavy lifting, which is going to allow me to, instead of working in my business, work on my business, which is growing it, which allows me to have a better quality of life with my family and things along those lines. So the recurring revenue model, I know everybody's trying to get to that, and I can attest to you after 12 years and work with partners for the last 12 years. This is the direction you want to go, and we sure would love to help you moving forward.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jeff. So I think there's one last slide from us, Cole, and then maybe we, if George was happy to talk, we can actually talk about hopefully why George is excited and whether we're delivering the the promise to George that it says here, such as a solution for that Windows Server opportunity, a delivery model for hybrid IT, an opportunity to move to that high margin annuity revenue, and in the process increasing either the quality of life, enterprise value, and profitability. But at the end, we're Telco MSP and ourselves, we're here to help you with your relationship to your customers. You still own that customer, you still have control. So as Jeff said, call upon Telco MSP and Zynstra to help you grow your business and or get a, grow it less painfully if growing's a bit, or whether it's trying to make it less painful to you. So at that point, George, if you're happy to say a few words on your experiences, that would be great. And maybe introduce yourself.
Hi, this is George Hefter. I'm president of TCT Computer Solutions, and happy to say we have been able to place a Zynstra SMB appliance at one of our customers. I can attest to the fact that it was delivered promptly. It was configured promptly. I think we had it up and running in the space of an hour or two, and it continues to run now. It's been in place since September. It's basically Zynstra delivered on every one of their promises. It's been relatively painless. It doesn't take away all your problems, of course. As an MSP, you still have the customer infrastructure and ideas to deal with, but the appliance certainly takes a large part of the problems away and makes those parts easy, almost a commodity, and leaves you with dealing with the things that really provide the apparent value to your customer. The testimonial we got from the customer we placed our SMB appliance at was that we finally have a stable infrastructure. Now we can pay attention to the other things that are important to our business. How are we going to organize files? How are we going to ensure that the right things get backed up? How am I going to ensure that I can use off-site collaboration and all of these other things that are so important to keeping our business, which is spread all over the Pacific Northwest and even down into California, everybody connected, everybody working on the same page, and so we can focus on those issues. We were drawn to Zynstra from the very beginning of the year. I noticed a post on Carl's website, made an inquiry. I'd like to learn more because we, just like most of you probably, were looking for a way to replace small business server and looking for a way to move to a monthly recurring revenue model. Zynstra sounded like it. I was happy enough to be invited to be part of the Zynstra advisory panel and contribute a little to the thinking that went into how do we make this product appealing to the North American market, and it was apparent from the very beginning that it was a terrific solution, and I believe it is. I think it's something that is going to be the future of computing certainly for the foreseeable future, and the logical stepping stone to perhaps a still distant world where we have most everything in the cloud. For now, I think there's still too many issues about what individual companies want to have control over to give everything over to the cloud, and of course many line of business applications won't run in the cloud, or they don't want to be run in the cloud. So it's the logical next step, and we found it, so we're continuing to push this marketing very hard and look for other opportunities. I can say in conclusion, I wish we had discovered this product in 2013, because we transitioned an awful lot of our small business server customers away from small business server 2003 into 2008 or 2011 over the latter part of 2013 and the early part of 2014, leaving us with only a few opportunities among our current customer base to transition to Zynstra. But there are lots of other folks out there that are still running Server 2003 and ancient software, even Small Business Server 2003, for which this is the perfect offering. I don't know what more I can say.
That was awesome. So,
I'd be happy to address questions, though, if there are any.
One of the interesting things, George, is that you've been involved with this really since we started the advisory panel, and I think you can also attest to the fact that Zynstra has truly made an effort to engage the community and to take feedback, and even today, if somebody came up with a great suggestion, I'm sure that they would implement it. So it's been really good to work with them as well.
It has been terrific to work with them. I would second that wholeheartedly.
That's great. So thank you very much, George. Carl, Carl, do you think it would be good timing now to throw it open to see if there's any questions from
Yes. So we've got,
George or us?
we've got about 20 people on the call, so one of the things that I can do is I can unmute everybody. But if we do that, then you got to mute yourself, or folks can just raise their hand or put a question in the question section. So however you want to work with it.
Yeah.
Should we? So Mark Marino has a question. Can you add any details to the key to the question where we are at with a final solution? P to V. So
that was for us, yeah. So at the moment, that's part of the role of the MSP, of the partner, where you're working with the SMB and they have an application that's physical and they want to put it into a virtual machine on the Zynstra platform. There's no automated tools that we provide as part of the platform. We are looking at any areas where where we're seeing the same request over and over again. So if there's a application that is specific for a vertical, whether it's for a vet practice or for healthcare or finance or dental or something. So if we're seeing an application where it looks like a lot of people would want that application still running on premise, but curated and ported into a virtual machine and sold as part of enabled as part of the Zynstra platform, then we are doing that, and we're looking at the ecosystem of ISVs, working with people like HP and Microsoft to identify the top players in those sort of physical on-premise applications. And that's something that we would look to the community to make those recommendations. So definitely interested in having a whole catalogue of applications that we can sell support as a virtual app pre-bundled. Or if it's an ad hoc one, then we'd be looking to yourselves to, as part of your value add, to work with the customer to port that over from the physical into the virtual machine running on the Zynstra platform.
very good. Any other questions? You can raise your hand or type them into the question area.
So next week, just while we're waiting for the questions, we were going to talk you through, show you the software as a sandbox. So Adrian will walk you through the key functionality. Sometimes it's quite hard to get over the functionality, and again, people have said that once they've seen the software, they can see some of the smarts in it, and where all the R&D dollars have gone to make this fast to deploy and easy to manage. So we'll be covering all of that, as I said, this time next week. And also there is a tool which we call an appliance configurator, where you can enter in the number of users, the end user file store, the number of VMs that you might want, whether they're Windows or Linux, and it will actually work out which is the best appliance to propose, and therefore the ballpark figures, so that you can quickly get to that. And we can show you that next week, or I think we were looking at that being the week after.
All right. So, Mark, did you, I guess Mark had raised his hand. Did you have a question, or let me unmute Mark in case you have a question.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel, what I wanted to, and I apologize, that was a Siri issue, so I had to kind of re-clarify that question. But what I was trying to emphasize was when we're in non-greenfield, which is where most of these solutions are going to be, especially if you're migrating old SBS solutions, or if you pull people out of SBS, taking them to a more enterprise deal and want to roll them back into kind of a infrastructure solution like Zynstra. Domain controllers move over pretty easily, but application servers, yeah, maybe not so much. So that's where the P2V question was about. Can you elaborate what you're doing now to take an existing server, physical or virtual, and roll it into one of the Zynstra buckets We've talked about this in the past. I'm just curious if there's been any standardization, or has it all been ad hoc on a case-by-case basis?
Yeah. There's been a couple of applications, big applications that are being put forward in the areas of retail and or on the education front. But other than that, it's typically ad hoc by the MSP, the IT partner, sitting down with the customer and saying, right, which one of these applications needs to still reside on premise, which ones can move to the cloud, and okay, that's part of the value add that we as your partner will do is we'll port that. And yes, some of the cases, that's no mean feat. Some of the cases it will be straightforward, and others it will be quite a lot of heavy lifting. But at the moment, there's no automated tools to make that always work easier at this stage. We are looking at roadmap items which might be able to help with that, but there's nothing we can provide at this stage. I'm afraid it's still the heavy lifting in some cases, but that's where they would look to you really for that help.
Very good. Any other questions? Raise your hand or type them in. One of the things that I wanted to mention is that several of the people on the call have attended some of my cloud presentations in the past, and I always talk about putting everything exactly where it belongs. Put the processor where it belongs, put the storage where it belongs, put the email where it belongs. And this is a device that really helps you implement exactly that strategy. One of the things that's coolest about the Zynstra appliance is that you can start by having, let's say, just the Active Directory or just the storage on this appliance, and then gradually move things where they need to be. You could put a small business server on this if you needed to, and then migrate email to the cloud, migrate storage to the cloud, migrate backup to the cloud, just one thing at a time. It integrates well with your existing infrastructure. You're not limited to one appliance per site, so you could have a couple of appliances if you needed them. You could have appliances on 2 different locations and connect them through VPNs or whatever. Whatever you need to do, it's super, super flexible. So in terms of putting the X in the right place, this really is a product that's worth looking at. So I encourage anybody who's got any opportunities, or you think there's a project coming up that one of your clients might benefit from something like this, engage the folks at Zynstra, because they really would love to talk to you about what you've got going on and see, if it makes sense for the solutions that you have in front of you.
Yeah, and Cole, where we're seeing that, and certainly when there's an application, Mark, that we're seeing quite a lot of opportunities in retail where you've got maybe it's a regional retailer who's got 10 stores, 20 stores. We saw one earlier this week where they've got 350 stores and they're all running OPCs with XP, and they just got a warehouse full of these PCs, and when one breaks they stick a USB into a PC, and then somebody gets in a car and takes it out to the store, and they probably lose about $3,000-4,000 a day that the server's down. So they're at the low end of the functionality. There's only one application that's an old application, but it's not broke, so they don't want to fix it. But they would like to put it on an architecture that means that they don't have to keep going out to the sites, because they're all quite spread around the region. So in this case, there's only one application to port, so we can actually port it into a VM, and then we can actually pre-bundle it and ship it out with 350 servers to replace each one of these. So it's a scenario where it's not an application for the whole world. There's not many retailers that will be using this application, but for yourselves, the effort in porting this physical into a virtual machine, once it's in there, we can actually help with tools such that it's a consistent instance that you can then ship out, and we can help speed that sort of process up. So there's quite a few opportunities where there is a port of only a single app that needs to remain on site, but once it's been ported and gone through that process, we can help, especially if there's lots of the same.
You're also, the project you just mentioned points out the fact that you're also engineer heavy. You guys can figure out what you need to do on your end. It's not like you have one software developer and then you're done. You've got a lot of people at your disposal.
Indeed. And once we've taken on board a decision to manage an app or curate an app, then it's supported and it's kept current. If you do the physical to virtual and you put it in a virtual machine, once it's in that machine, the environment around that is managed for you. So, yes, there may be some heavy lifting to get it in there, but once it's in there, then we're looking after the environment around that.
All righty. So James has a question. How do you address companies evolving up in their infrastructure? Say I have a client evolve to needs such as HA structure. I'm not sure what HA is in that context.
Talking about high availability.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, can you? I missed the first bit of that, Carl.
So how do you address companies who are evolving in their infrastructure? Like they're evolving to need a high availability.
Okay, right. So the Zynstra solution can come in. I should have mentioned that there. I think I mentioned resilient cluster, but I may not have pulled it out. So if you've got customers who are in remote areas with very poor connectivity, and I know some of the ZAP members had that sort of scenario where the internet connectivity or the broadband connectivity is poor, then we can put but the need to protect the data is high, such that the cost of losing any data, for example, would be catastrophic. We have a high availability option which you can deploy, and the interaction between the two servers is all sorted for you. It's a share nothing, so that if a server was, you were to have a problem with that server, then it can run the whole system on the other server, and then we can bring a new one in and get it back up and running. It will also be backed up into the cloud, but we have quite sophisticated traffic management on the Zynstra platforms to enable us to take advantage of the connectivity as and when it's there, and or sort of work in isolation for as long as we need to before there's connectivity and we can do the backup into the cloud. So I think if you were to look at a customer's requirements, we can put a single server on, but you're getting high availability through backup and DR into the cloud, or if the access to the cloud is unreliable, then we can put a high availability cluster on site. So the only real scenario where you're in trouble is if somebody comes and steals both servers, or they were to both break at the same time. But then you still should have a backup and DR in the cloud. I'm not sure if that answered the question, but hopefully it gave a bit more information on high availability.
Yeah, he says thank you very much for that, and we do have a question from Colm of whether this is available in Canada, and by all means, of course it is.
Yeah. We'd love to have somebody in Canada come on board. We've got a few people who are very interested, and proposals have gone out, so we're waiting for everybody to get back from Christmas and think, right, I want to get this sorted. So yeah, it would be great.
Yeah, and we made a point of having a strong contingent of Canadian members on the Zynstra advisory panel. So, part of what came out of that was some sensitivity with regard to where the data live and so forth, and offsite, which cloud services are available and that sort of thing. So
there was. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Can you elaborate on the Office 365 reverse backup?
Yeah. Basically, some of the customers were looking at using the Zynstra server really just for their email and domain controller, and what they were looking at is moving to Office 365, but they were nervous of doing so. And what happens if I haven't got connectivity to the cloud? What happens if I fall out with Microsoft? What happens if there's just some problems? A general nervousness. So what we prepared was the Office 365 in reverse backup, such that we keep a copy of the PSD files on the drive, and we keep that up to date, such that if you were in the office and you wanted access to some emails, but you couldn't get access to the Office 365 in the cloud, you could still, if required, get access to the data on your own server. So it's, it's sort of a little bit sort of strange to, for a cloud solution to actually want to reverse back up some of the, the key data back onto the premise, just in case you can't get to the cloud. but that's what it's there for. So on the appliances, we allocate an area of the disk for reverse backup should you want it.
Very good. Next question is on growth. How does Zynstra handle growth? For example, if a client grows from 50 to 100 users, and actually you've got a great solution for that.
Yeah, happily. So we would just upgrade them from one server to the other. You bring the new server in, obviously you port it across, or you can just bring down the image from the cloud, and then once you're up and running on the new server, you just take the other one away, and we would address it in the either as a co-terminus or start a new three-year contract. I'm sure that we can make that as seamless as possible for them, and Telco MSP have lots of ideas on how we can help with that.
Alrighty, and a follow-up question on the Canadian and the offsite backup. Basically, you can choose any cloud storage you want. So Zynstra doesn't limit you to say, oh, it has to be Azure or whatever. Whatever you want to use, you can get connected to this device. So if something ships with the device, then you just turn it on. If it doesn't, then you can set it up. All of these machines are virtual servers, so they don't know they're not real machines. So anything that you would do without this device, you can do with the device. So if you have a specific off-site backup that you want to use that is in Canada, you would just simply allocate to that.
Yeah, and if you so wanted, for some customers where again the connectivity is low, we also have the HBRDX option, which is a pretty simple option. Basically a two-tape system, fairly robust. It sits there. We've got a very simple UI on the server, such that it reminds people you've got to take one tape out, put the other one in, reminds them that they've put the one back in that they just took out. That sort of fail-safe type stuff. And it's cheap and cheerful, but for some customers it works.
Very good. And Mark had a follow-up question is on the reverse backup of Office 365. He says email only. I don't know if, Mark, do you mean email versus calendars and public folders, or file storage, or?
Probably more the SharePoint, Exchange versus SharePoint.
Yeah, I didn't realize I still had voice. The question is it doing Exchange services only, or is it anything in those buckets that you fully manage? For instance, if you have SharePoint sites or any other piece that is 365 centric.
I'm going to have to get back to you on that, Mark. I don't know the intricacies of the specific files that it backs up, and especially when it gets more sophisticated with Exchange and SharePoint as well. Obviously what's in a VM we back up, but there is, specifically, I know it does the PSD files, but I'm not sure what else it would do when you have a SharePoint Exchange as well. But we can find out for you. I'm sure there's a data sheet on it, which I should have memorized off by heart, of course, but I think too much excess over Christmas and New Year has made my mind somewhat blurred on that. But we'll find out, and maybe Adrian can get back to you on that.
All righty. And then James asks about what's the nature of the VM here, and I know we're going to go into some of that a little next week, but why don't you just speak to the Zen?
The what? Sorry, Carl?
The virtual machine. He's asking Hyper-V, VMware, so forth.
So it's Zen, and yes, we can definitely go into that in a bit more detail of how we create all the virtual machines and what they run.
So yeah, so it's based on a Zen server. Alrighty, well, it is 10 o'clock, so we're essentially out of time, but I really appreciate the participation this week, and I hope folks are excited about the product. As you can tell, I am, and I really think that it's a great solution for people, as George said, who have been working with Small Business Server and other older servers. This is a great way to take your customers into the next generation and not have to worry about any of the technology, hardware or software. So,
great.
All right.
Thanks, Carl, for arranging. Thanks, George, for participating, and thanks everyone for joining us today. It's much appreciated.
Carl, do you have a contact slide?
So let's see here.
We got the scuba diver. I presume you can put up a quick note for people to email us either directly or through yourself, and a reminder to join us next week for the sandbox demo. But if you want some information beforehand, maybe you can share the contacts, Carl.
Yeah, I will certainly send a note out to folks, but anybody can get in touch with me, or we'll get you the information for the Zynstra folks. And I'm sorry that's the most obvious slide to have missed. So I'm sorry I didn't catch that. Also, anyone who signed up for this webinar will automatically get the invitation for the next 3 weeks. So, and that way, it's the exact same link. And so we'll just see you here, same time, same station, next Thursday at 9 o'clock Pacific.